Good morning and welcome to Better Thyself segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Today I'm going to talk about a concept which all your management gurus, life coaches, and all those guides to self help mention. You see, wherever we go, we are told get up in the morning or before going to sleep, rather, prepare and adhere to a to-do list, what you have got to do. Write it down and strictly follow that. This will save you time, make you more productive. And I have found that this is one of the most undesirable practice. What you have got to do is to discard this habit of preparing a to-do list. What to talk of adhering it, you need to throw in the waste paper basket. I have a confession, and that is I hate, despise these to-do lists. For some time, even I was caught in the trap of preparing these lists. I made the mistake of writing a to-do list at the start and the end of my working day, telling myself that crossing things off would bring me greater joy and greater satisfaction. Well, here's a spoiler alert. It did not. It neither gave me joy nor gave me satisfaction in any way. I met countless friends, good managers who profess their love and, in fact, an obsession for to-do list told me that they would help me, these lists, keep on the track, management time, and be more productive. Believe me, they couldn't be more wrong. I do not think people ever realize how harmful this practice is for productivity. Extremely deleterious effects, hampers your capability, kills your initiative, destroys your productivity. As a matter of fact, I'll call it a horrible practice. And when you try to analyze the practice, you will agree that this is, in fact, a shitty practice. It's not that keeping a list of things that you need to get done is a bad idea. It's not. It is a fact that the people run their days on their to-do list. And that is harmful. Adhering to that. Preparing a list is okay. But then adhering to that, what happens is that here a major mistake creeps in. People make it a habit, checking their to-do list before looking at their calendar. They don't look at the calendar, they look at the list. And then what happens? Urgent things or other important things get ignored. Now you would be asking me why these to-do lists don't work. There are three reasons that these to-do lists don't work. And in fact, they are the major obstacles to being effectively being productive. You cannot reach the optimization of your productivity capability. Waking up, getting ready to work, surveying your to-do list sounds very ideal. Well, it's not. Often when people do this, I mean, say, get up in the morning, get ready for the work, and then look at the list. Wow, I've got to do this. Now let me do it. When they're doing this, they are bypassing important or complicated tasks in favor of that is easier to be done or is more urgent. You look at the list and then you say, well, this job can be done sooner, so why not do it? Or this job appears to be of a more urgent need, so why not do it? So, what happens next? By ignoring the complex tasks, the difficult tasks, you're ultimately setting yourself up for failure and disappointment. And not only that, you are destroying your self image. When you are disappointed, you start hating yourself, or rather, you start demonizing yourself. And that is extremely bad. Inside, a doubt starts nagging you, biting you. Your self esteem is lowered. It is, in fact, reinforcing the self image of someone who doesn't do what they say they are going to do. You think that you wanted to do it, and yet you have not been able to do it. So there must be something wrong with you. This psychological burden is too much, and then that problem is there. Then what happens? Your behavior changes because behavior change requires identity changes. So your identity now is changing as somebody who cannot do a job. And by preparing your to do list and looking at it, you are reinforcing this identity of incapable, inefficient person. You are reinforcing that image that you are, in fact, reinforcing that image of being a bad person. And that is the problem. You are, in fact, killing yourself, destroying yourself. Now, what happens in that case? You lose respect for yourself. And what are you supposed to do? You are feeling that you have done something which you should not have done. And since you have done that, you do not want to undo it. Then there's another problem. There's an issue of encroachment on time. These lists, to do lists, encroach on your personal time. Incomplete tasks play on your mind, and this stops you from enjoying yourself outside of the work. How much time have you spent worrying about incomplete tasks? I should say spent. I should say wasted. How much time you have wasted about incomplete tasks? You are supposed to enjoy your weekend. You're supposed to enjoy your family time. And then the thought comes to you, well, in my to do list, these are the items I didn't do. Wow. Now, what shall I do? How shall I compensate? The do lists, in fact, are nothing but another avoidance strategy. The best way to avoid doing something is to make a do list yourself that you can actually avoid. You write it down and then you find an excuse for not doing it. And get finding excuses is not too difficult. Think about it. How many times have you written a list, color coded it, reorganized it, categorized it, added hashtags, essentially spending more time on writing than actually doing it? So, what should you do instead now? When I say throughout the list, you have got to know that the jobs have got to be done. So what I do is that these to-do lists have a negative impact on my personality, on my psyche, and my capabilities. So what I do, I change the work, keeping it a done list, what jobs I have done. Now, whether I do it mentally or whether I do it on a piece of paper is something different. And what I say you should do is write down every single task that you have completed and then crossing it or taking it off. Write down the task you complete. It may sound weird, but it actually helps you to focus on the jobs completed and then pat yourself on the back that you have done it. It will reinforce your self image as someone who is productive and diligent at work. As I always say, your self esteem, your self image is most important. And you suffer when it doesn't happen. Some people have their own calendar method and they prepare a free schedule maker to help them may take ownership in time and task. So you have a calendar that these jobs have to be done. But you schedule your jobs. When I was still in my consultancy business or as the CEO of the electronic company, the watch company, I would set aside realistic chunks of time for specific jobs. And after that chunk, I would do things which came to me, not on what to do list, but what was immediate attention, urgent attention. So this enables you to change and enables you to think about the task and it reinforces a notion, and that notion is very important, that distraction and procrastination stem from a desire to escape discomfort. Why do you procrastinate? Why don't you work? Because working is discomfort. So you want to escape it. You put off. You have a to-do list. Okay, let me do it later on. And that later on never happens. So it's better to perform than to write down. And you perform better on a time constraint, weekly schedules, daily schedules that give you a framework. Be sure an unscheduled day isn't freedom. Rather, it's a recipe for regret. So schedule your days, but don't have the list to do it. We are human beings, and we are awful at predicting how long a task will take. It can take a long time, it can take a less time. On an average, I've seen a task time 2 to 3 times longer than you think it will for an average person. So if you are making the mistake of keeping a to-do list, there's no time constraint. And how can you have a to-do list without a time limit? So either you prepare a list, this job 20 minutes, this job 30 minutes, this job 4 hours, then okay, it's a calendar. So when you're putting things on a calendar, there's a built-in constraint. In your calendar, there are only 24 hours in a day. So you cannot put in more jobs than what is possible to do. So if, for example, I'll give you an example, if you decide to set aside 30 minutes to go through your emails every morning, you at least know how long you have got to deal with it. And maybe you will not finish it in time in one morning. So then you reschedule your calendar and see, okay, this job needed more time. I should be more careful. So you're calendarizing and prioritizing at the same time. And that enables you to perform better. There's optimum result of your action. And that enables you to be more productive, more effective, and a better manager, a better worker, and a better human being. There is more freedom to act when you categorize and prioritize your job rather than to list 20 jobs you've got to do. But without the time slot, result is at the end of the day, out of the 20, you might have done 5, 50 you may not have done, and the 5 also you may not have done fully because you are under the restriction of completing the 20 jobs. So you neither do 5 jobs good, nor you do the 20 jobs that you have written down. And thereby hangs a tale that you have done something which is not appropriate, which is not proper. So if you really want to be productive, if you really want to retain your self-esteem, either build it up, then the best thing you can do is throw this shitty to-do list in the garbage bag. Rather use prioritizing calendars that will enable you to have optimum utilization of time and modulate your capabilities according to that time. Think about it. Thank you.